Rami's spaceship touched down on the surface of planet Zorelia with a gentle hum. The sky above was painted in shades of green and gold, and the air shimmered slightly, carrying a faint, sweet scent. He had been sent on a simple exploration mission, but he had heard stories about Zorelia's hidden wonders. As he stepped out of his craft, the soft ground beneath his boots felt almost alive, like it pulsed with energy. Rami adjusted his helmet and looked around. Strange plants with glowing leaves swayed in the breeze, and small creatures with translucent wings darted between them. He could hear a faint hum in the distance, like music, though it was unlike anything he had known. Every sound seemed to carry a rhythm, as if the planet itself was alive. He had been walking for nearly an hour when he noticed a tall structure in the distance. It looked like a palace, but unlike any palace he had seen. Its walls shimmered with colors that changed with the sunlight. Curious, he began moving closer, careful to step quietly so as not to disturb anything. As Rami approached, he noticed a small, hidden garden behind the palace. It was filled with flowers that glowed faintly in the sunlight and trees with silver bark. He stepped through an arch made of intertwining branches and gasped softly. At the center of the garden, a figure floated slightly above the ground. She was unlike any being Rami had ever seen. Her skin had a soft, pearly glow, and her hair flowed like liquid silver. Her eyes were large, filled with colors that seemed to change with her emotions. She wore a long robe that shimmered like starlight. She moved gracefully, lifting herself a few feet off the ground, and her hands traced patterns in the air that left tiny sparks of light behind. Rami froze. He had stumbled upon the princess of this world. His heart pounded in his chest, but he reminded himself to stay calm. He raised his hand slightly to show he meant no harm. I did not expect anyone here, he said softly, his voice careful. The figure turned, and Rami's eyes widened. She was looking directly at him. He noticed a flicker of surprise in her eyes, followed by caution. "You are a human," she said, her voice melodic and soft, yet full of authority. "What brings you to my garden?" Rami swallowed nervously. "I am Rami. I come in peace. I was exploring the planet and I did not mean to intrude." He paused, then added, "You look beautiful today." The words felt strange even as they left his mouth. He did not know if she would understand, or if she would be offended. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the princess did something unexpected. She tilted her head slightly and smiled. "Thank you, Rami," she said. Her voice carried warmth. "It is not often that someone says something so kind to me." Rami blinked. He had expected suspicion or anger, but instead, she had thanked him. He felt a rush of relief. I mean it," he said quickly. "You are truly amazing. Your abilities are incredible." She raised an eyebrow, a hint of amusement in her gaze. "You speak honestly. That is rare for humans." She floated a little closer, her movements smooth and effortless. "Few dare enter this garden, and even fewer speak without fear." Rami took a cautious step forward. "I did not want to frighten you. I wanted to show respect." The princess nodded. "I can feel it. Respect is an important thing, even between worlds. Most beings come seeking power or knowledge. You come simply to see and to speak. That is different." He noticed a small smile play on her lips. There was something about her presence that made him feel calm, despite the strangeness of the world. Her glow, the way her hair floated, the sparks of light trailing her hands. It all felt magical, yet real. "Why are you alone here?" Rami asked, curious. The princess paused, looking around the garden as if she were thinking. "This is my place to practice and to be at peace. Many come to see me as a ruler, not as a person. Here, I can be myself, without expectation or worry." Rami nodded. "I understand that. Sometimes, it is nice to be somewhere quiet, just to breathe." For a moment, they stood in silence, watching the light play on the flowers and the trees. The air was warm and fragrant, and the faint hum of the planet surrounded them. It was as if time slowed down. Then the princess spoke again, her voice softer this time. "You are brave, Rami, to come here alone. Many would fear what they do not understand. But you chose curiosity and kindness." Rami felt a warmth in his chest. "I think understanding other worlds is important. There is so much to learn, and sometimes, the people, or beings, we meet are more interesting than the planets themselves." The princess tilted her head and studied him carefully. "You have a gentle heart, Rami. It is rare among humans. Most act without thinking of others. You notice small things." Rami felt embarrassed but pleased. "I try," he said with a shy smile. For the first time, the princess descended closer to the ground, standing a few feet from him. Her presence was still radiant, but she seemed more approachable. "Perhaps," she said thoughtfully, "we can learn from each other. You see my world, and I see yours. Maybe together, we will understand more than either of us could alone." Rami's heart skipped a beat. He had not expected to be offered friendship, much less something that felt like partnership. "I would like that very much," he said honestly. The princess nodded, and her smile widened slightly. "Then let this be the beginning of something new. I am Nira, Princess of Zorelia. And you are Rami, human explorer." Rami bowed slightly. "It is an honor to meet you, Princess Nira." Nira inclined her head gracefully. "And it is a rare pleasure to meet someone who speaks truthfully and with respect. Perhaps, Rami, your presence here is not by chance. Perhaps your arrival is the start of a journey that neither of us expected." Rami looked around at the glowing garden, the shimmering trees, and the alien sky above. He had no idea what the future held, but at that moment, standing in the presence of the princess, he felt excitement and hope. This was only the beginning, and he could sense that his life, and the life of Princess Nira, was about to change forever. As the suns of Zorelia dipped lower toward the horizon, their golden light reflected on Nira's radiant skin and silver hair. Rami could not help but speak once more, softly but sincerely. "You really do look beautiful today." Nira's smile was gentle but knowing. She nodded, almost amused. "Thank you, Rami. That is a kind thing to say. Perhaps, in time, we will learn why your words mean more than you realize." For now, though, they stood together in the quiet garden, two beings from entirely different worlds, beginning a connection that would soon grow into something extraordinary. The morning sun rose over the shimmering towers of Zorelia, bathing the palace in a golden light. Rami could hardly sleep the night before, thinking about his first encounter with Princess Nira. The memory of her smile, her glowing presence, and the way she had thanked him for a simple compliment stayed in his mind. Today, he was determined to learn more about her world and, if possible, to see her again. Rami left his spaceship and walked toward the palace gardens. The paths were lined with glowing plants and softly humming trees, and tiny creatures darted around, creating a living pattern of light and movement. As he entered the hidden garden, he saw Nira practicing her levitation exercises again. She floated above the ground, tracing delicate shapes in the air that sparkled before fading. When she noticed him, her expression showed surprise. "You are back," she said, her voice calm but filled with curiosity. "I did not expect to see you so soon." Rami smiled politely. "I wanted to learn more about your world, Princess Nira. Your garden is incredible. The plants, the light, it feels alive here." Nira floated a little closer, her movements smooth and graceful. "This is my favorite place to be. It is quiet, and it allows me to think. Most people cannot understand why I need solitude." "I understand," Rami said. "Even humans need places to be alone, to think and feel safe. Sometimes, it is the only way to see things clearly." Nira studied him closely. There was something in his words that resonated with her. "You speak thoughtfully, Rami. You are different from other humans who visit my world. They often seek only to learn, or to gain advantage. You speak with respect." Rami shrugged lightly. "I like to understand, not just to take. Every world has its own beauty, and people or beings are part of that beauty. I want to see it all." The princess blinked, considering his words. Then, slowly, she smiled. "Perhaps we can help each other. I will show you some of what my world holds, and you can share what your world has to teach. It may be interesting." Rami's heart lifted at her words. "I would like that very much." For the next few hours, Nira guided Rami through her garden. She showed him flowers that changed color depending on their mood, and trees whose leaves could sing when the wind passed through them. She explained how each plant had a purpose, how each sound was part of a balance maintained for centuries. Rami listened carefully, fascinated by the harmony of her world. "You seem amazed," Nira observed, floating down to a path beside him. "Do humans not have such wonders?" Rami shook his head. "We have beautiful things, yes, but not like this. Not with this kind of energy, or this connection between nature and the people who live here. It is amazing." Nira's eyes softened. "I am glad you see it. Many visitors miss the deeper meaning and only notice the surface. You notice more." As they walked, Rami noticed that Nira occasionally paused, watching him with curiosity. It was clear she was learning about him as much as he was learning about her. They laughed together when small creatures darted around them, playful and mischievous. At one point, Rami tripped over a glowing root, and Nira quickly reached out. Her hand brushed his shoulder, and he felt a sudden warmth. "Are you all right?" she asked, concern in her voice. "Yes, thank you," Rami said, his cheeks warming slightly. He realized that her attention felt special, unlike anything he had experienced before. They continued deeper into the garden, where a small pond reflected the twin suns above. The water shimmered in hues of blue and gold, and strange fish with translucent bodies swam beneath the surface. Nira knelt beside the pond, and Rami followed. "This pond is very old," Nira explained. "It holds memories of my people. When we look into it, we can see echoes of the past, moments of joy, and lessons learned. It is a reminder of who we are and what we must protect." Rami leaned forward, peering into the water. To his surprise, he saw images of creatures he had never imagined, landscapes that seemed to float in the sky, and moments of laughter and learning. "It is beautiful," he said softly. "Like a story written in water." Nira nodded. Yes. Each of us has a part in this story. And sometimes, we meet others who change how the story unfolds. Perhaps that is why you are here, Rami. Perhaps your presence will change the story of Zorelia. Rami looked at her, unsure how to respond. The idea that he could affect an entire world was overwhelming, yet the trust in her voice made him feel capable. I will do my best, he said quietly. Even if I am just a visitor. The princess smiled, her expression thoughtful. That is all anyone can do. Even small actions can have great effects. You have already shown kindness and curiosity. That is a good beginning. As the day passed, they explored more of the garden. Neera showed him hidden paths, sparkling waterfalls, and flowers that opened only in sunlight. Rami shared stories of Earth, telling her about forests, rivers, and the night sky. Neera listened intently, fascinated by the differences and the similarities. By the time the twin suns began to set, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, Rami realized how much he had enjoyed the day. He had learned about her world, yes, but he had also discovered something new about himself. Being with Neera felt natural, as if they had known each other for longer than a single day. Neera floated beside him, her eyes reflecting the colors of the sunset. You have learned much today, she said softly. And yet, there is still more to see. Zorelia is large, and its wonders are many. I think, our friendship will be a long journey. Rami smiled, feeling a sense of excitement he had not felt in years. I would like that. To learn, to explore, and, to spend time with you. The princess looked at him, her expression gentle but serious. Then let us continue tomorrow. The garden will welcome us, and so will the stories of our worlds. As Rami left the garden and returned to his spaceship, he felt a strange sense of happiness. He had come to Zorelia to explore a planet, but he had found something far more valuable: a connection, a bond that crossed the boundaries of worlds. He thought of Neera's smile, her glowing presence, and the way she had thanked him for a simple compliment. It surprised him, but it also gave him hope. Perhaps this was only the beginning of a story that neither of them could have imagined. And as the twin suns disappeared behind the horizon, Rami looked forward to the next day with anticipation, ready to continue a friendship that promised to change both their lives forever. The next morning, the sky over Zorelia was pale green, and the air carried a faint hum as if the planet itself was aware of something. Rami prepared for another day of exploration, his mind filled with thoughts of Princess Neera. He hoped to see her again in the garden, to continue their conversations, and to learn more about her world. As he stepped into the garden, he noticed that Neera was not alone. A group of palace guards, tall and armored in shimmering suits, were surrounding her. Their eyes were alert, scanning the horizon and the trees beyond the garden. Neera looked calm but serious, her glowing hands tracing protective symbols in the air. Rami approached carefully. Princess Neera, is everything all right? He asked. Neera turned to him, her expression tense. Rami, it seems there is trouble. Scouts have reported a fleet approaching Zorelia. They are not friendly. We must prepare. Rami's heart skipped a beat. He had never faced a real battle on this level before, but he knew he had to help. Tell me what I can do. I may be human, but I can pilot ships, handle weapons, and think quickly. I want to help you. Neera studied him for a moment. Most humans would not have the courage to say that. Very well, Rami. I will need your help, but you must follow my instructions carefully. Any mistake could be dangerous. Rami nodded. I understand. I will do everything I can. The princess led him to a high tower overlooking the palace and the surrounding lands. From this vantage point, Rami could see the horizon glowing with the lights of approaching ships. They were sleek, dark, and fast-moving, unlike anything he had seen before. Nira explained that they belonged to a rival faction that sought to claim Zarelia's energy resources. Their intentions were clear: they wanted power, and they would not hesitate to destroy anyone in their way. We must act quickly, Nira said. Our shields are strong, but the enemy is clever. We need strategy, not just strength. Rami, your experience with human tactics may give us an advantage. Rami nodded. Then let us make a plan. Tell me what you need me to do. For the next few hours, they worked together. Nira showed Rami the palace's defense systems, including energy shields, teleportation gates, and hidden weapons. Rami suggested ways to use their limited resources efficiently, and Nira listened, impressed by his insight. She had not expected a human to think so quickly under pressure. As the sun reached its highest point, the first wave of enemy ships appeared in the sky. They glinted in the sunlight, moving like predators circling their prey. Nira activated the palace shields, and energy barriers rose around the walls, glowing with a protective light. Rami climbed into one of the smaller defensive ships, his hands steady on the controls. Nira gave him instructions over the communication system. Distract their scouts first. Draw them away from the main fleet. Then focus on disabling their weapons. Remember, precision is more important than speed. Rami took a deep breath and launched the ship. The air around him shimmered as he accelerated, weaving between the enemy scouts. Using tactics he had learned on Earth, he avoided their attacks and created openings for the palace defense systems to strike. Sparks flew in the sky as energy beams met enemy hulls, and Rami felt a thrill at being part of the action. Meanwhile, Nira guided the palace forces. She moved gracefully along the control room, her glowing hands sending commands with speed and accuracy. Her voice was calm but firm, and the soldiers followed her instructions with perfect synchronization. Rami watched in awe as she balanced strategy and precision, her mind working faster than anyone he had ever known. Suddenly, a larger enemy ship broke through the outer defenses. It was massive, its dark surface reflecting the sunlight like a shadow in the sky. Nira's eyes narrowed. That ship is dangerous. Rami, you must take it down. I will provide cover from here, but you are the only one who can reach its weak points. Rami felt his heart race. He had never faced anything so powerful before, but he remembered Nira's trust in him. I will do my best, he said, gripping the controls tightly. He flew toward the enemy ship, dodging beams of energy and explosions that lit the sky. He noticed a pattern in its movement and found a small opening near its rear. Carefully, he aimed his ship's energy disruptor and fired. The enemy ship shook violently, sparks flying across its hull. It tried to attack him, but Rami maneuvered quickly, striking again and again at the weak points Nira had identified. Back in the palace, Nira watched with focused intensity. You can do this, Rami. Keep calm. Trust your instincts. The enemy ship's engines began to fail, and it slowly descended toward the planet's surface. Rami felt a surge of relief and accomplishment. He had helped protect the palace and the people of Zarelia. After the battle, Rami returned to the palace, exhausted but proud. Nira met him in the garden, her glowing presence calm yet filled with admiration. You were remarkable, she said softly. I did not expect such courage and skill from a human. Rami shook his head, smiling. I could not have done it without your guidance. You are incredible, Princess Nira. Your strategy and leadership saved the planet. Nira smiled, a mixture of pride and relief in her eyes. Perhaps we make a good team. Together, we can face challenges that neither of us could face alone. Rami looked around the garden, noticing the small creatures that had returned after the battle, the flowers that glowed softly, and the peaceful hum of the planet. I am glad I am here, he said. Not just for the adventure, but to be here with you. Nira's gaze softened. And I am glad you are here, Rami. You have shown bravery, intelligence, and a gentle heart. You are not like other humans who visit my world. I can trust you. For a moment, they stood together in silence, feeling the calm after the storm. The air shimmered, and the planet seemed to exhale, relieved that danger had passed. You have changed my day, Rami, Nira said finally, her voice warm. And perhaps my view of humans as well. You are courageous, and your presence is a reminder that even the smallest actions can make a great difference. Rami smiled, feeling a sense of pride and connection. I hope to continue learning from you, Princess Nira. There is so much more of your world I want to see, and so much more I want to understand. Nira nodded. Then we shall continue our journey. There will be challenges ahead, but together, we can face them. Today was only the beginning. As the twin sons of Zorelia said, casting long shadows across the palace grounds, Rami felt a strong bond forming between him and Nira. They had faced danger together, learned to trust each other, and discovered a connection that went beyond words. This was no longer just an exploration mission. It was the start of a partnership, a friendship, and perhaps something more. And as night fell, the garden glowed softly, the stars reflecting in Nira's eyes and Rami's heart. Both knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by trust, courage, and the promise of a new adventure. The day after the battle, Zorelia was calm again. The twin suns shone brightly over the palace, reflecting on the glassy surfaces and the shimmering towers. Rami walked through the palace corridors, still amazed at the beauty and scale of the structure. He had never seen a place like this, where elegance, technology, and nature existed in perfect harmony. He found Princess Nira in a high room filled with tall windows that looked out over the palace gardens. Rays of sunlight illuminated the crystal floors and the holographic displays that hovered in the air. Nira was studying an intricate map of her world, her hands moving in the air as she rearranged points of energy and communication networks. Rami stepped closer. Good morning, Princess Nira. May I join you? Nira looked up and smiled warmly. Of course, Rami. There is much to discuss today. You have already seen some of the wonders of Zorelia, but there is more, if you are willing to learn. Rami nodded eagerly. I want to see everything I can. And I want to understand as much as possible. Nira gestured to the map. This is the network that connects our cities, our research centers, and the energy sources that power Zorelia. It is complex, but it is maintained with care. Each connection is important. A single mistake can cause imbalance. Rami studied the map, noticing patterns and flows that reminded him of traffic systems and energy grids on Earth. It is amazing, he said. You have built a world that is beautiful, but also balanced and intelligent. Everything has a purpose. Nira nodded. Exactly. We value harmony above all. The world itself is alive, and we live in partnership with it. Humans often take without understanding, but you notice the connections. You see the balance. Rami felt a quiet pride. I think it is important to notice. Every world has lessons to teach. Even humans can learn from Zorelia. The princess studied him carefully, her eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and admiration. Perhaps. And today, I want to teach you more than what is visible. You have already learned about our gardens, our defense, and our energy. Now, I will show you the deeper knowledge of Zorelia, the knowledge that guides our people in thought and action. Rami followed her to a library unlike any he had seen. Towers of books and floating crystals hovered in the air, each holding knowledge from centuries of study. Holographic screens displayed diagrams of alien technology, biology, and star charts. He was overwhelmed by the wealth of information but eager to understand. Nira guided him to a glowing crystal that hovered in the center of the room. This contains the history of Zorelia, the stories of our people, and the discoveries that have shaped our culture. You may learn from it, but you must focus. Knowledge without understanding is useless. Rami reached out and touched the crystal. Instantly, he was immersed in visions of Zorelia's past, great explorers charting unknown lands, scientists discovering energy patterns, and leaders guiding their people with wisdom. He saw the balance between technology and nature, how every choice had a ripple effect on the world. This is incredible, Rami whispered. I can see how much thought has gone into everything. Your people are wise and careful. Nira nodded. We must be. Our survival depends on it. And now, Rami, you can understand why your presence here is important. Humans have perspective that we lack. Your curiosity, your courage, and your willingness to learn make you valuable to Zorelia. Rami felt a mixture of humility and pride. I never imagined I could make a difference here. But I want to help in any way I can. Nira smiled softly. Then you will learn not only about our world but also about yourself. Knowledge is not only about facts, it is about understanding who you are and what you can offer. They spent the morning studying together. Nira explained advanced energy patterns, teaching Rami how the planet's systems worked in harmony. Rami shared his knowledge of human science, describing how his people used simple technologies to solve complex problems. Nira listened intently, asking questions, and occasionally challenging his ideas. You humans are resourceful, she said, her eyes bright. Even without our technology, you can think creatively and adapt. That is a quality that we admire and often lack. Rami smiled. I think humans can learn from Zorelia as well. Your technology, your balance with nature, your way of thinking, it is inspiring. I hope one day we can apply some of these ideas back on Earth. Nira floated closer to him, her presence calm but powerful. Perhaps one day, our worlds will exchange knowledge. But for now, we learn from each other. You bring courage, insight, and a fresh perspective. I bring knowledge, experience, and guidance. Together, we can achieve more than either of us could alone. Rami felt a warmth in his chest. Being near her, learning from her, and seeing her trust in him, it was more meaningful than anything he had experienced before. I am grateful for your trust, Princess Nira. I will do my best to honor it. They took a break in the garden afterward, sitting by the glowing pond. Small fish swam beneath the surface, reflecting the twin suns above. The flowers glowed softly, and the air carried a gentle hum, as if the planet itself approved of their friendship. I have never had a human as a friend, Nira said quietly. Most humans I have met are curious, yes, but they do not understand or respect our ways. You are different. Rami looked at her, sincerity in his eyes. I want to understand, not just see. Your world is beautiful, and I respect it. And I respect you. Nira's expression softened, a gentle smile appearing on her face. Then perhaps this friendship is the start of something greater. You may be a visitor from another world, Rami, but you have already become important to me and to Zorelia. Rami felt his heart lift. He had never imagined that a simple mission to explore a planet could lead to such a connection. I feel the same way, Princess Nira. I hope we can continue learning from each other, exploring together, and discovering the wonders of your world. Nira nodded. We will. There is much more to see, and much more to understand. But for now, let us enjoy this moment, this quiet, and the beginning of a journey that neither of us expected. As the twin suns set, casting long shadows over the palace and the garden, Rami and Nira sat together, sharing stories, laughter, and silent admiration. The day had been filled with learning, discovery, and trust. They had begun to understand each other, to value each other's strengths, and to see the possibilities of what could be achieved together. Rami knew that this was only the beginning. There would be challenges ahead, moments of danger, and tests of courage. But he also knew that with Princess Nira by his side, he could face whatever came next. Their bond was growing, built on trust, respect, and shared curiosity. And as the stars began to shine above Zorelia, both of them felt the promise of new adventures, discoveries, and a friendship that could change both their worlds forever. The day began quietly on Zorelia, with twin suns rising in the sky, painting everything in shades of gold and green. The palace gardens glowed softly in the morning light, and small creatures flitted among the flowers. Rami walked through the garden, carrying a small notebook where he had been recording his observations about the planet. He felt a sense of excitement. Today, he hoped to spend time with Princess Nira and continue exploring her world. As he approached the central fountain, he saw her already there. Nira floated above the water, her silver hair catching the sunlight and sparkling like threads of light. She was practicing a new technique, lifting small stones into the air and moving them with delicate gestures. The stones glimmered as they floated, creating patterns that reflected her focus and skill. Rami paused, watching her in awe. "You are amazing," he said softly. Then, remembering his first words to her, he added, "You look beautiful today, Princess Nira." Nira froze for a moment, her glowing eyes meeting his. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed softly, a musical sound that made the air feel lighter. "You humans are curious creatures," she said, her voice carrying warmth. "It is rare to hear such words without expectation." "Thank you, Rami. It is kind of you to say that." Rami felt a mix of relief and joy. Her response was more personal this time, filled with subtle appreciation. "I mean it," he said sincerely. "I think you are not just beautiful, but also brave, wise, and incredible in so many ways." Nira studied him carefully, her gaze softening. "You speak truthfully, Rami. Most visitors only see the surface, but you see more. You notice who I am, not just what I appear to be. That is rare." Rami stepped closer, his hands relaxed at his sides. "I have learned so much from you, Princess Nira. You have shown me your world, your knowledge, and your strength. I respect it, and I respect you." The princess floated down, sitting beside the fountain with her legs crossed. Her eyes reflected the sunlight, glowing softly. "You have a gentle heart, Rami. I see it in your actions, in your words. Courage alone is not enough, kindness and understanding are equally important. You possess both, and it is remarkable. Rami smiled, feeling warmth in his chest. He had never been praised in such a genuine way before. I am glad that you see it, Princess Nira. I want to learn more from you, to understand your world and your people. And I want to be someone you can trust and rely on. Nira nodded thoughtfully. Trust is not given lightly, Rami. It must be earned. And you have earned mine. Today, I will show you something special, a place few humans have seen. She gestured for him to follow, and they moved through a hidden passage that led to a balcony overlooking a valley. The valley was filled with floating crystal formations that reflected the sunlight, creating a dazzling display of colors. Streams of glowing water wound through the formations, and strange creatures moved gracefully among the crystals. This is the Valley of Echoes, Nira explained. It is a place of reflection and learning. The crystals store memories, experiences, and knowledge. When one stands here, one can sense the essence of Zorelia, the lessons of the past, and the hopes for the future. Rami stepped closer to the edge, looking down at the valley below. He felt a strange energy, like the world itself was speaking to him. It is beautiful, he whispered. I have never felt anything like this. It feels alive, as if the valley is welcoming me. Nira smiled. It is alive, Rami. And it welcomes those who come with pure intent. You have courage, curiosity, and respect. That is why you can feel its energy. Many who visit with selfish intent cannot perceive it. They walk slowly among the crystal formations, Rami listening to Nira's explanations about the energy flows, the history of the valley, and the lessons it held for her people. He asked questions eagerly, wanting to understand every detail. Nira answered patiently, impressed by his attention and his willingness to learn. As they reached the center of the valley, a particularly large crystal rose above the others. Nira gestured for Rami to touch it. When he did, he was flooded with visions, moments of Zorelia's history, stories of explorers, scientists, and leaders, and glimpses of the bond between the planet and its people. He saw courage, wisdom, mistakes, and lessons learned. This is incredible, Rami said, stepping back in awe. I can feel the history of your world. It is like living it for a moment. Nira nodded. Yes. And now, you understand why your presence here is meaningful. You bring a new perspective. You see the world as it is, not just as it appears. That is why you matter, Rami. That is why I trust you. Rami felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had never imagined that a human could be so welcomed into an alien world, or that his thoughts and actions could matter to a princess of another planet. I am honored, he said quietly. I will do my best to live up to your trust and to continue learning from you. They sat together for a while, watching the sunlight reflect off the crystals and listening to the faint hum of the valley. The moment was peaceful, filled with unspoken understanding and connection. Rami realized that his admiration for Nira went beyond her beauty. He admired her wisdom, her courage, and her dedication to her people. Finally, Nira spoke, her voice gentle. Rami, there is something I want you to know. Humans are often judged by their strength or their achievements. But you are judged by your heart, by your intentions, and by your willingness to understand. That is why I value your presence. Rami felt his heart lift. He had never received such a meaningful compliment before. Thank you, Princess Nira. That means a great deal to me. I hope to continue proving that I am worthy of your trust and friendship. Nira smiled, a warm expression that reached her glowing eyes. You already have, Rami. And I believe that together, we can face whatever challenges come next. Today was a moment of truth, not only for our friendship but for the journey that lies ahead. As the sons of Zorelia set, casting long shadows across the valley, Rami and Nira stood side by side, feeling the energy of the crystals around them. They had shared thoughts, feelings, and admiration, and the bond between them had grown stronger. The trust they had built was unspoken but undeniable, and it gave both of them a sense of hope and courage. Rami looked at Nira, feeling a quiet determination. I will continue learning, Princess Nira. I will face whatever comes with courage and care. And I will be here for you, no matter what challenges lie ahead. Nira's gaze softened, and she nodded. I know you will, Rami. And I will be here as well. Together, we will explore, learn, and protect. Today was only the beginning, and our journey has just begun. As the twin suns disappeared below the horizon, the valley glowed with a soft light, reflecting the bond between a human and an alien princess. Both of them knew that their connection was rare and special, and that the adventures and challenges ahead would only strengthen their trust, admiration, and friendship. In the quiet of the evening, they returned to the palace together, ready to rest, reflect, and prepare for the next chapter of their journey. And for Rami, the simple words he had spoken in the garden, words of admiration and truth, had opened the door to a bond that promised to change both their worlds forever. The morning on Zorelia was quiet, almost too quiet. The twin suns rose slowly, casting a soft green-gold light across the palace and the gardens. Rami could sense that something was different. He had explored the planet for days and had learned to read the subtle energy shifts, the small hums that indicated activity. Today, the air felt tense. As he walked toward the central tower, he saw Princess Nira standing on the balcony, her glowing hands tracing patterns in the air. Her face was calm, but her eyes were focused and alert. A small group of palace guards surrounded her, their attention fixed on the horizon. Rami, Nira said, her voice steady but serious. The enemy is returning. They have found a way to bypass our outer defenses. This time, they are stronger and more organized. We must act immediately. Rami felt his heart race. He had helped before, but now the stakes were higher. Tell me what to do, he said firmly. I will do everything I can to help you and your people. Nira nodded. You will join the defense team. We will use a combination of strategy and courage. I will guide the palace defenses, but the key to victory will be precise actions. Your experience with human tactics will be invaluable. Together, they moved to the control center, a high room overlooking the palace grounds and the surrounding lands. Screens and holograms displayed approaching enemy ships. They were faster and more numerous than before, their dark hulls glinting in the sunlight. Nira explained that these ships belonged to a rival faction seeking to take control of Zorelia's energy resources. They would stop at nothing to achieve their goal. Rami studied the displays. We need to split their forces, he said. Draw part of them away from the main fleet. That will give the palace defenses a better chance to strike effectively. Nira's eyes brightened. Exactly. That is a strategy humans often use. We will divide and conquer. Rami, you will lead the diversion team. Take the fastest ships and draw the enemy away from the palace. I will coordinate the defenses here. Rami nodded and climbed into a small, agile craft. His hands moved over the controls with confidence, his mind focused on the task ahead. Nira's voice came through the communication system, calm and clear. Rami, remember, precision and timing are more important than speed. Watch for openings, and trust your instincts. He accelerated into the sky, weaving between enemy ships, using his knowledge of aerial maneuvers to avoid attacks. Energy beams streaked past him, lighting the sky with flashes of color. He focused on drawing the enemy scouts away, carefully leading them into traps set by the palace defenses. Meanwhile, Nira guided the palace's energy shields and weapons systems. Her glowing hands moved gracefully, sending commands with speed and accuracy. Soldiers and technicians followed her instructions without hesitation. Rami watched in awe as she coordinated every detail, balancing strategy and precision with remarkable skill. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships broke through the outer defenses, heading directly toward the palace. Rami's heart pounded. He had to act quickly. "Princess Nira, that ship is coming closer. What should I do?" "Focus on its weak points," she replied, her voice steady. "Distract it and lead it away. The palace defenses will cover the main fleet. Trust your instincts, Rami." Rami maneuvered his craft carefully, dodging energy beams and using the terrain to his advantage. He noticed a pattern in the enemy ship's movement and found a small opening near its rear. With careful precision, he fired the ship's energy disruptor. Sparks flew, and the ship shook violently. He repeated the attack, weakening the enemy ship further. Back in the control room, Nira observed his actions with approval. "Well done, Rami. Continue, but remain cautious. Their technology is advanced, but you have the skill to overcome it." The enemy ship's engines began to fail, and it slowly descended toward the valley below. Rami felt a surge of relief and accomplishment. He had successfully protected the palace and contributed to the defense of Zorelia. After the immediate danger passed, Rami returned to the palace, his craft landing smoothly. Nira met him in the garden, her glowing presence calm but filled with admiration. "You were remarkable," she said softly. "I did not expect such courage, skill, and quick thinking from a human." Rami smiled, a mix of pride and humility in his expression. "I could not have done it without your guidance, Princess Nira. Your leadership and strategy saved countless lives. I only followed your instructions." Nira shook her head. "No, Rami. You acted with courage and intelligence. You took risks that others would not have. That is why you are invaluable. We make a good team, and today proved it." They walked through the garden, the soft hum of Zorelia surrounding them. The small creatures had returned, and the flowers glowed gently, as if the planet itself was breathing again after the storm. "Rami," Nira said quietly, "today we faced danger together. You have shown bravery, intelligence, and a strong heart. I trust you completely." Rami felt a warmth in his chest. "And I trust you, Princess Nira. You have shown me your world, your knowledge, and your courage. I want to protect it and help you in any way I can." The princess smiled softly, a mixture of pride and quiet affection in her glowing eyes. "Then we will continue together. There will be more challenges, but together we are stronger. Today was a test, and you have passed it. You are more than a visitor here, Rami. You are a partner." For a long moment, they stood together in the garden, feeling the calm after the battle. The twin suns began to set, casting long shadows and bathing the palace in a warm light. The air shimmered with energy, and Rami realized that the bond between them had grown stronger. Trust, respect, and shared courage had created a connection that neither time nor danger could easily break. Rami looked at Nira, determination in his eyes. "No matter what comes next, Princess Nira, I will stand by your side. Together, we can face any challenge." Nira's gaze softened. "I know you will, Rami. and I will stand by you as well. Today was only one battle, but our journey is far from over. Together, we will explore, learn, and protect this world and each other. As night fell over Zorelia, the palace glowed softly, reflecting the bond between the human and the princess. The quiet hum of the planet was a reminder that they were part of something greater, a world filled with wonders, challenges, and hope. Rami felt a sense of pride and belonging he had never known before. He had come to Zorelia as an explorer, curious and cautious, but he was leaving the day with a deeper understanding. He was not just a visitor, he was part of the story of this world, and his connection with Princess Nira was becoming stronger with every shared moment and every challenge faced together. And as they watched the stars appear in the night sky, Rami and Nira knew that the next adventure was already on the horizon. Danger might come again, but with courage, trust, and partnership, they were ready to face it. Together, they could overcome anything and discover even greater wonders in the vast universe of Zorelia. The sky over Zorelia was a deep shade of violet as the twin suns set. The palace glowed softly, its towers reflecting the colors of the evening. Rami walked through the garden, feeling a mixture of excitement and anticipation. The past days had been filled with exploration, learning, and danger, and he had grown closer to Princess Nira than he ever expected. Today, he sensed, something significant was about to happen. He found Nira in the central fountain area, her silver hair shimmering in the twilight. She was practicing her levitation techniques, moving smoothly through the air as small crystals floated around her. When she noticed Rami, she smiled warmly, a quiet understanding in her glowing eyes. "Rami," she said, her voice calm yet full of meaning, "tonight will be different. There is a ceremony, a tradition of my people, that honors courage, trust, and partnership. You have proven yourself in all these ways. I want you to be part of it." Rami felt a rush of emotion. "Me? I am honored, Princess Nira. I do not fully understand, but I am ready to learn and participate." Nira nodded, her expression softening. "You will understand soon enough. Come with me." They walked together through the palace, passing glowing gardens and crystal corridors. Servants bowed respectfully, and guards watched carefully, acknowledging Rami's presence without hesitation. For a human to be included in such a ceremony was rare, and Rami felt both proud and humbled. They arrived at a large hall, filled with energy crystals and floating platforms. Members of Zorelia's council were gathered, their glowing forms reflecting centuries of wisdom. Nero led Rami to the center of the hall. "This is the Hall of Echoes," Nira explained. "Here, we honor those who act with courage, intelligence, and heart. You, Rami, have demonstrated all these qualities. Tonight, you will receive recognition not just as a visitor, but as a friend and ally of Zorelia." Rami felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. He had faced danger, learned about the planet, and shared moments with Nira, but this was more than he expected. He bowed respectfully. Nira continued, her voice filled with warmth. "Rami, humans often think they are small in a vast universe. But your actions have shown that courage, kindness, and understanding can change the world. You have become part of Zorelia, and your presence has strengthened our bonds and protected our people." Rami's heart swelled with emotion. "Thank you, Princess Nira. Your words mean more to me than I can express. I only wished to help and to learn. I did not expect such honor." Nira smiled softly. "It is well deserved. And there is more. Zorelia values not only courage but also connection. Trust and friendship are as powerful as any shield or weapon. You have shown that, Rami. And tonight, we celebrate that bond. The council members raised their hands, sending streams of light into the air. The energy formed a glowing circle around Rami and Nira, connecting them in a web of shimmering threads. He could feel the warmth of the energy, the approval and respect of the people, and the trust of Princess Nira. "You see, Rami," Nira said quietly, "your presence has already changed Zorelia. You have reminded us that even visitors from another world can bring strength, courage, and wisdom. You are more than a human to us, you are a friend, a partner, and a protector." Rami looked at her, moved by her words and by the energy surrounding them. "I am honored, Princess Nira. And I feel the same. You have shown me wonders, knowledge, and trust that I will carry forever. I hope to continue protecting and learning alongside you." Nira reached out, her glowing hand brushing against his. "And I will stand with you, Rami. Together, we are stronger than any challenge that may come. You have proven that courage and heart can make a difference, even in worlds far from your own." The energy circle around them pulsed with light, responding to their connection. Small creatures from the garden floated in, drawn to the bond, and the crystals around the hall shimmered more brightly. Rami realized that this moment was not only recognition of his actions but also a symbol of unity between two worlds. As the ceremony continued, Rami and Nira stood side by side, their bond visible in the light, their trust evident in every gesture. The council members offered words of praise and encouragement, acknowledging the partnership that had grown through courage, learning, and shared challenges. After the ceremony, Rami and Nira walked back to the garden. The night air was cool, and the stars reflected on the glowing pond. The creatures of Zorelia moved gently around them, sensing the calm and the harmony between the human and the princess. "Rami," Nira said softly, "tonight was more than a ceremony. It was a reminder that courage, kindness, and understanding can cross worlds. You have become part of Zorelia's story, and you have changed it for the better." Rami felt a deep sense of fulfillment. "I never imagined that a mission to explore a planet could lead to this. I came to learn and see wonders, but I have found friendship, trust, and purpose. And I could not have done it without you, Princess Nira." Nira's glowing eyes reflected the twin sun's last rays and the stars above. "And I could not have done it without you, Rami. You have reminded me that strength is not only in power but also in heart, courage, and trust. That is a lesson I will never forget." They sat by the pond, watching the water shimmer with light from the floating crystals. Rami realized that this bond, formed through shared experiences, danger, and learning, was rare and precious. He had faced challenges, discovered wonders, and built trust with someone who represented an entire world. As the night deepened, Nero leaned slightly toward him, her voice gentle. "Rami, our journey is far from over. There will be more adventures, challenges, and lessons. But tonight, we celebrate what we have achieved and the connection that has grown between us." Rami nodded, his heart full. "I will be here for whatever comes next, Princess Nira. Together, we can face anything, and together, we will continue discovering the wonders of your world." Nira smiled, her glow soft but steady. "Yes, Rami. Together. And that is all that matters." For a long time, they sat quietly, side by side, listening to the gentle hum of Zorelia and watching the stars above. They knew that the journey they had begun full of learning, courage, and trust was only the start of something extraordinary. Rami had come as an explorer, a visitor from another world, curious and cautious. He was leaving, not just as a visitor, but as a part of Zorelia, bonded to Princess Nira through shared experiences, respect, and trust. And as the twin sons of Zorelia rose again the next morning, Rami and Nero looked